It's like, where did it go?
You can go ahead and speak. I'll scribble for a moment and then I'll jump in and sing my lovely alto part.
Top of 8, good work. Very responsive. Can we look at top of 8, please? And start right there. We're going to make sure we're adding, like the two important words we want to focus are on peace and happiness. And of course we have that tomato on peace. So let's just try that again from do with pledge. Right on do. First measure, top of 8. Yeah, well, like Gavin said, we'll cut it right on 1. So. Right from peace and happiness.
Peace and happiness. Concord and
And we'll want to make sure to, like you see the diminuendos and do crescendos on each of those, so really add that emphasis on concord. Concord is here. Let's try that from the first three measures, just adding a little bit more of that dynamic phrasing.
Can you show that a little bit more?
Yeah.
I noted that in your sheet as well. It's a challenge in the piece, I think.
Yeah, no, it's so slow.
Can I ask a couple of questions? So you kind of drew our attention to the dynamics at the beginning of the piece. What is the dynamic at the beginning of bar 2?
Back to piano, I think.
Okay, and then at the beginning of bar 4,
Piano.
and the beginning of bar 5?
Piano.
Okay, does anybody see it differently or have a different choice there on those places? The dynamic at the beginning of bar 2, the dynamic at the beginning of bar 4 and 5? Ashton?
When I was looking at it, it kind of feels like, although it's written in, I think it's just, in this piece, the dynamic doesn't really mean the dynamic. I think it just sets the tone that it shouldn't be harsh, but I don't think it's like, to me, to my ear, I don't think it has to be a true piano.
Uh-huh. So, okay, I think that's a valid point. So my question is this: does measure 2 begin at the same dynamic as measure 1?
Should.
It shouldn't?
I'm almost, I guess I'm tempted to say like the beginning should really be like mezzo piano, and, and then the second bar be like an echo of that, and that should be like a true piano.
Okay, perhaps, yeah.
I mean, to me, it's almost the same first measure and second measure.
You would do them the same, basically?
Pretty much.
You know, if this were a 20th century composer, there might be a recording out there that he had some participation in that could guide us a little bit. Did anybody find any? But it could be really interesting. So I think that this could be one of those places where there's an assumption that bar 2 and bar 4 and bar 5 kind of reset to the opening dynamic level, and then he wants this on each of those bars. Or you might feel, as I think Ashton was suggesting, that over the period of those 2 or 3 bars or 5 bars or whatever, there's a gradual lessening of the dynamic. I don't know what the correct answer is. There probably isn't a correct answer. But just like the question that we were talking about with Gavin, each conductor should know what their plan is about that and be able to say specifically, oh, measure 2 begins exactly at the same dynamic that measure 1 began, and measure 4 will do the same. Or each one will step down and be a little bit less, something like that. Then a question for anybody: E-N-D-U-E. What does this word mean, and how do we pronounce it? E-N-D-U-E.
Endue.
Say that again.
Endue.
Are you doing a little glide?
Yeah.
So the choice is endu or endu. So have an idea what you want to have your choir do there. What's it mean?
Like instill, I guess.
Last.
last.
That's enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, so make sure you know. All right, sorry, Alejandro, continue, please.
Yeah, with that being said, second system, first page, second system, fourth measure. I think we'll start mezzo piano there, since we can't take crescendo from a pianissimo to another pianissimo. With the most important two bars, land, to, and do, and do, and do.
Say that again.
I'm gonna say and do.
And do, without the
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
To endow, provide, and instill equality or equal.
Just say it now.
And,
Way better word. Better vowel too.
Yeah, so let's try the second system fourth. We're actually starting on days to bless.
Days to bless.
Yeah. Can we do that forte mark a little bit more marked? So the ribes, so giving emphasis, the same emphasis to each one. The ribes fruiting all the way through the word not.
Yeah, so forte marked, what is he telling us there with those two instructions?
I thought he wanted like forte and then the notes kind of marcato.
That's exactly what I think he wants. And I think we see this in Britain's scores a lot. It's like he was kind of nationalistic a little bit about his terminology in the scores, that he's like, I don't need to use Italian words because the English words will work just fine. So you'll often see a word like mark, which is literally the English translation of marcato in a score.
Percy Granger did that too.
Right, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Well, we have our own language that has words that will tell us these things. Why don't we just use them? Great, thank you, Alejandro. Who would like to do that?